Good morning everybody. Today we will be discussing about the exercises of the forearm muscles. Before going through the exercise session, we will go through the different parts or different bones and muscles around the forearm. Now the important bones in the forearm region is radius and ulna. The radius is the lateral bone, we can say it is the lateral bone of the forearm. The radius articulate superiorly with the humerus and forms the elbow joint along with ulna. And at the lower side, it articulates with the scaphoid and lunate bones and forms the wrist joint. And the medial bone is the ulna, and with the ulna, it makes three articulating joints. The first one is a proximal radio-ulnar joint. The second one is a distal radio-ulnar joint. And there is a middle joint which is formed by interosseous membrane. Now the ulna. Ulna is the medial bone. It is the medial bone of the forearm. Proximally, along with the radius, it articulates with the humerus and forms the elbow joint. At the same time, distally, it articulates with the radius and forms the distal radio-ulnar joint. Now, there is an interosseous membrane which binds the radius and ulna. This is also known as, we can call this as medial or middle radio-ulnar joint. Now, we will go through the different muscles at the forearm region. The muscles of the forearm region can be divided into two parts. The muscles of the anterior compartment and the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm. Now, again the anterior compartment muscles can be categorized into two parts. The muscles which are superficial and the muscles which are deep. There are 5 superficial muscles and 3 deep muscles are present at the anterior compartment of the forearm. Now the names of the superficial muscles are, these are pronator teres, flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor digitorum superficialis. So all these superficial muscles are having the almost same origin. That is the medial epicondyle of the humerus. This is the common flexor origin for almost all of the superficial muscles. And these are the muscles which does the movements of the wrist joint. Now the deep muscles are flexor pollicis longus, flexor digitorum profundus and pronator quadratus. These muscles are seen deep to the superficial muscle groups. Now we will go through the anatomy of the superficial muscles briefly. The first muscle is the pronator teres. Pronator teres, by name itself, we can understand the action of this muscle. It is the main pronator of the forearm. Along with that, it flexes the elbow also. This muscle is having 2 heads. Origin is from 2 heads, that is one a humeral head and the second one a ulnar head. Humeral head start from the common flexor origin, that is the medial epicondyle of the humerus. And ulnar head starts from the medial border of the coronoid process of ulna. Then it comes down and attached to the lateral aspect of the shaft of the radius. So it's the nerve supply is from the median nerve and C7, C6 and C7. The action we will be knowing that pronator, this is the pronator teres, it is the pronator of the forearm. Along with that, it crosses the elbow joint. It is the flexor of the elbow, but it is an accessory muscle for the flexion. The next muscle is the flexor carpi radialis. Again, its origin is from the common flexor origin of the superficial muscle. That is, the medial epicondyle of the humerus is the origin of the muscle. Then it goes downwards and it is attached to inserted to the base of the second and third metacarpals. Nerve supply again from the median nerve, and action is flexion of the hand at the wrist joint, and it also adduct the hand at the wrist joint, that is, it is also known as radial deviation. So the action of the muscle is flexor carpi radialis is The first one is flexion of the hand at the wrist joint, and the second action is the radial deviation. We can call it as abduction of the wrist. The next muscle is the palmaris longus. Again, its origin is from the common flexor origin, that is the medial epicondylae of the humerus, and it goes down and it is inserted to the flexor retinaculum and palmar aponeurosis. So it is so again its nerve supply is the median nerve, and action is flexion of the hand at the wrist joint. These are the flexors of the hand at the wrist joint. Next muscle is the flexor carpi ulnaris. This muscle is having two functions. The first one is these are the flexors of the hand at the wrist joint. Along with that, it is the ulnaris muscle, and its main another function is its adduction of the wrist joint. That is, we can call it as again ulnar deviation of the wrist. Again, this muscle is having two origin. That the first one is a humeral head and the second one is a ulnar head. Humeral head is the common flexor origin, that is the medial epicondylae of the humerus. At the same time, ulnar head from the medial aspect of the olecranon process of ulna and the posterior border of the ulna. So the muscle is having two heads, that is origin is from two heads, a humeral head and a ulnar head. Humeral head from the medial epicondylae of the humerus, ulnar head from the medial aspect of the olecranon process and the posterior border of the ulna. Then it goes downwards and attached to the pisiform bone, hook of hamate, base of the fifth metacarpal bone. Again the nerve supply, here the nerve supply is the ulnar nerve. Action is, the first one is these are the flexors of the hand, along with that it adducts the hand at the wrist joint, that is it is the ulnar deviation of the hand. Next muscle is the flexor digitorum superficialis. It's having two heads, two origins. The first one is a humero-ulnar head. Humero-ulnar head is origin is from the medial epicondylia of the humerus and medial margin of the coronoid process of ulna. Radial head is arising from the oblique line on the anterior surface of the shaft of the radius. Again it goes down and it makes four different tendons at distal part, and each tendon again attached to the sides of the middle phalanx and other four medial fingers. Now the nerve supply is again the medial nerve, and main function of this action of this muscle is flexion of the middle phalanx of the fingers, and this flexes the proximal phalanx at a weak proximal phalanx flexion, and it flexion at the wrist. So it's having three functions. The first one is flexion at the wrist, second one is the flexion at the middle phalanx and flexion at the proximal phalanx also. But in case of flexion of the proximal phalanx, these are the weak flexors of the proximal phalanx. These are the five muscles of the anterior superficial muscles of the anterior compartment of the forearm. Now the deep muscles of the anterior compartment. The first one is the flexor pollicis longus. By the name itself, these are the flexors of the thumb, flexors of the phalanx of the thumb. Flexor pollicis longus origin again the middle of the anterior surface of the shaft of the radius and from adjoining part of the interosseous membrane, and it comes down and the tendon passes distally through the carpal tunnel and attached to the distal phalanx of the thumb. So its nerve supply the anterior interosseous branch of the median nerve, and the function is the flexion of the phalanx of the thumb. Next muscle is the flexor digitorum profundus. That is origin is from the upper 3/4 of the anterior-medial shaft of the ulna, and the muscle divide into four tendons just prior to the transversing the carpal tunnel and attached to the distal phalanx of the four fingers. Nerve supply, the medial part is supplied by the ulnar nerve and the lateral portion is supplied by the anterior interosseous branch of the median nerve. Now the function is flexion of the fingers, and this is the exclusive flexor of the distal phalanx, and this is the weak flexor of the wrist. So, it is having two functions, and this is the exclusive flexor of the distal phalanx. Flexor digitorum profundus is the exclusive flexor of the distal phalanx, and again it is having function at the wrist joint also. It is flexor of the wrist also, but it is a weak flexor at the wrist joint. Another deep muscle is the pronator quadratus. Pronator quadratus origin from the lower quarter of the anterior surface of the shaft of the ulna. Then it comes down and insert to the lower quarter of the anterior surface of the shaft of the radius. So, it is seen at the distal part of the radius and ulna, you can see in the picture. Then the nerve supply is the anterior interosseous branch of the median nerve. Action is pronation of the forearm. This is the distal muscle, and its action is, by the name itself we can understand it is the pronator of the forearm, action pronation of the forearm. Now, the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm. So, we already discussed that the muscles of the forearm can be divided into two portions, that is the muscles of the anterior compartment and muscles of the posterior compartment. The posterior compartment muscles, these are especially the wrist extensors. The main function is extension of the wrist joint. Now, we will go through the muscles of the posterior compartment. Again, the posterior compartment muscles can be divided into two parts again, superficial muscle groups and deep muscle groups. The superficial muscles include extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor digitorum, extensor digiti minimi, extensor carpi ulnaris, brachioradialis, extensor carpi radialis longus. And the deep muscles include supinator, abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis longus, extensor indicis and extensor pollicis brevis. So, by the name itself almost all these muscles work on the thumb. Now, superficial muscles of the posterior compartment. The first muscle is the extensor carpi radialis longus. Its origin from the lower third of the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus. Then it comes down and it is inserted to the posterior surface of the base of the second metacarpal bone. Nerve supply, radial nerve, most of these superficial muscles are supplied by the radial nerve, and action is extension at the wrist joint. Along with that, abduct the hand at the wrist joint, that is here the movement is the radial deviation. So, the extensor carpi radialis longus is having two functions. The first one is extension motion at the wrist joint, along with that the radial deviation or abduction of the hand at the wrist joint. The next muscle is the extensor carpi radialis brevis. Again, this muscle is having two functions again, that is the first one is extension at the wrist joint and radial deviation of the hand at the wrist joint. Its origin is from, there is a common extensor origin, that is from the lateral epicondylae of the humerus, and it comes down and inserted into the posterior surface or the base of the third metacarpal bone. Nerve supply is posterior interosseous nerve. Next muscle is the extensor carpi ulnaris. You can see in the picture, extensor carpi ulnaris, its origin again from the common extensor origin, that is lateral epicondylae of the humerus, and it is inserted to the posterior surface or the base of the fifth metacarpal bone. That is, its main function is extension and adduction of the hand at the wrist joint. So, it is the extension, adduction means here it is the ulnar deviation, that is extension along with the ulnar deviation, extension and ulnar deviation of the hand. Next muscle is the extensor digitorum. Its origin is from the again the common extensor origin, that is the lateral epicondylae of the humerus. Then again the muscle divided into four parts and forms a dorsal expansion, and the nerve supply is the posterior interosseous nerve, and action is again extension at the metacarpophalangeal joint. It also assists in extension of the proximal and distal interphalangeal joint of the arm. Extensor digitorum, and the main function of extensor digitorum is it assists in extension of the proximal and distal interphalangeal joint, and it extends the metacarpophalangeal joint, and its origin is from the common extensor origin, that is epicondylae of the humerus, and it comes down and it divides into 4 tendons and it forms the dorsal expansion, and nerve supply is from the posterior interosseous nerve. Next muscle is the extensor digiti minimi. It is again its origin from the common extensor origin, that is from the lateral epicondylae of the humerus, and it is inserted via 2 tendons on the dorsal expansion of the little finger. So, its nerve supply is the posterior interosseous nerve, and action is assist in extension of the little finger from the digiti minimi. The name digiti minimi itself, we can understand that it is extension of the little finger. Next muscle is the brachioradialis. This muscle is in the extensor compartment, but it is having a different function. Origin is from upper 2/3 of the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus, and it is inserted to the base of the styloid process of the radius. Nerve supply is the radial nerve, and the function is it fluxes the forearm and assists in rotating or restoring the arm in mid-prone position depending upon the initial position. These are the superficial, the muscles we were discussed were the superficial muscles. Now, we go through the different deep muscles of the forearm, of the deep muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm. The first comes the extensor pollicis longus. Its origin from the posterior surface of the ulna, and it is inserted to the posterior surface of the base of the distal phalanx of the thumb. So, as the name pollicis implies that it is related to the thumb itself. The main function is it is the extensor pollicis, that is extension of the thumb. Nerve supply is again the posterior interosseous nerve. Next muscle is the abductor pollicis longus. Again, this from the name itself we can understand that it abducts the thumb. Abduction and extension of the thumb is the function of the abductor pollicis longus. Origin is middle and the posterior surface of the shaft of the ulna and radius, and inserted to the posterior surface or the base of the first metacarpal bone. Nerve supply from the posterior interosseous nerve. Action is abduction and extension of the thumb. Next deep muscle is the extensor pollicis brevis. Its origin from the posterior surface of the radius, and it comes down and it is inserted to the posterior surface of the proximal phalanx of the thumb. Nerve supply is the posterior interosseous nerve. Again, from the name itself we can understand what is the function of this muscle. Extensor pollicis brevis, it extends the thumb. Extension of the thumb is its function. Now, we will go through the different exercises of for the forearm muscles. Now, we will go through the different stretching exercise for the wrist joint, that is a flexor stretching of the wrist joint. Now, the first one is the praying wrist flexor stretch. Here, the initial position should be, the person should be standing, the subject should be standing, placing the palm together in front of the body. It is like a praying position. Point the fingers towards the neck. Now, we are starting it by pushing the hands together, lower away from the body until the wrist separates. So, then hold the stretch for some time and relax, then repeat for the opposite arm. So, this is called praying wrist flexor stretch. So, again I am demonstrating it again. Place the palm together in front of the body, and the fingers should be towards the neck side. That is almost like a praying position. Then you are pushing the hand downwards towards the one side of the hand, towards one side, and until the wrist separates. And we are getting the stretching of the forearm muscles, the forearm flexors, and hold the stretch, then relax and do for the opposite hand. So, this is called praying wrist flexor stretch. Now, the next method of stretching the wrist flexors are seated wrist flexor stretch. The subject should be sitting on the floor. Then he should place the palm on the floor to the sides behind the hips with fingers pointing towards back. Now, we are asking the subject to lean back with his arms straight, where he is not bending his arms. We are asking him to lean his back with keeping the elbow and arm straight, and he will be getting the stretch now, and hold the stretch for some time, then relax and keep the arm straight again. The subject should be sitting on the floor. We are asking the subject to place the palm on the floor sides behind the hips with the fingers pointing towards the back side. Now, we are asking the subject to lean back with the arm straight and hold. He will be getting the stretching now, and we are asking the subject to hold the stretch for some time, 5 to 10 seconds, and keeping the arm and elbow straight, keep the arm straight. So, and then after that he can relax and continue the stretch, do 3-4 times, do it 3-4 times. The next type of stretch for the wrist flexors are single arm wrist flexor stretch. For this, the person should be standing position with the palm facing downward, grasp the underside of the fingers with other hand and straighten the elbow. Elbow should be straight. Now, pull the fingers and wrist upward and back towards the forearm. Pull the fingers and wrist towards the forearm, then he will be getting stretch on the wrist flexors, and repeat and do for the opposite arm. Next type of stretching for the wrist flexors are kneeling wrist flexor stretch. For this, the subject should kneel on the floor. Place the palm of the hand on the floor with the fingers pointing towards his knees. Now, shift the body back with the elbow straight, and he can get the stretch in the muscles of the that is wrist flexor muscles. Hold the stretch for some time and relax. Next type of stretch for the wrist flexors are wrist stretch wall, that is wall wrist stretch. The position of the subject should be standing. He should be standing facing a wall with outstretched arm facing up. Place the fingers on the wall pointing downwards. The fingers should be pointing downward. Slowly try to place the whole hand flat on the wall, and along with that extension of the wrist. So, hold the stretch for 10 to 30 seconds and relax. This is another method of stretching the wrist flexor. This is also called wrist flexor stretch on the wall. Next type of stretch is the bilateral wrist flexor stretch. It is begin with the elbow straight, wrist and fingers bent backward and position on a firm surface. Now, gently apply some pressure through the wrist. So, he will be getting a stretching over the flexors of the forearm, and hold it for 5 to 10 seconds and repeat. Now, the stretching exercise for the wrist extensors. So, we already discussed regarding the wrist extensor muscle. These are the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm. So, these muscles, there are superficial and deep muscles, and there are some exercises. Now, we are going to demonstrate some exercises which stretches this posterior muscle, that are the wrist extensor. These are called wrist extensor stretches. There are different types of wrist extensor stretches are there. We will be demonstrating right now. The first type of wrist extensor stretch is the single arm wrist extensor stretch. Here, this is the most commonly used type of extensor stretch. We are keeping the elbow straight and bend the wrist downward using the other hand until feel a mild to moderate stretch. The stretch should be pain-free stretch, and hold it for 15 seconds and repeat. Next type of stretching is the kneeling wrist extensor stretch. The subject should kneel on the floor or mat. Then flex the wrist and place the top of the hand on the floor with the fingers pointing towards the knee. The fingers should point towards the knee and lean against the floor with the elbow straight. His elbow should be straight and lean against the floor. Then hold the stretch. He will be getting stretching on the extensor muscles of the wrist, and hold the stretch for 10 to 20 seconds and relax. Now, strengthening exercise for the wrist joint. especially the wrist flexors. We will go through the wrist flexor strengthening. The first type of strengthening is the barbell wrist curl. So, the subject should be sit on a bench and keep the forearm on its lap while holding the barbell, a barbell palms up. Using only the hand and the wrist, curl the barbell up towards the ceiling as high as possible. Then keeping your forearm flat on your lap. When you return to the starting position, allow the barbell to roll all the way down to your fingertips and then repeat. So, he is moving the barbell up and down and repeat. Hold the strengthening for some time, then relax. Here the target muscle is the wrist flexor muscle. Next type of wrist curl is the dumbbell wrist curl or dumbbell wrist curl. That is, the subject should be sit and hold the dumbbell with an upper hand grip. Now, rest the forearm on the bench between the thighs with your wrist just beyond the edge of the bench. Now, allow the dumbbell to roll down the palm towards the fingers, curl the dumbbell back up and flex your wrist. Once you perform the desired number of repetition, we can do with the opposite other forearm also. Here the target muscle is the wrist flexor muscle, strengthening of the wrist flexors. Now, the next type of exercise is the strengthening of the wrist extensors. We already discussed different wrist extensor muscle. These are the muscles of the posterior compartment of the forearm, and this muscle we will be discussing about how we can strengthen the wrist extensors, that is the posterior muscles of the forearm. Next, strengthening, we are discussing about the strengthening exercise of the wrist extensors. The first type of exercise is the barbell reverse wrist curl. The subject should be sitting on a flat bench and keep the forearm on the lap while holding the barbell palms down. Now, using only your hand and the wrist, reverse curl the barbell up towards the ceiling as high as possible, keeping your forearm flat on your lap. Then lower the barbell down as far as you can, then repeat. So, here the target muscle is the wrist extensor muscle. Next type of strengthening exercise for the extensor muscle is the dumbbell reverse wrist curl. The subject should be sitting and holding the dumbbell with overhand grip. Rest your forearm on the bench with 90-degree angle. The forearm should be at 90-degree angle, holding the dumbbell off the side of the bench. This position is usually generally more comfortable position. Then lower the dumbbell as far as you can. Then reverse curl the dumbbell back up and flex the wrist. Then once you perform the desired number of repetition, then go for the other arm. Wrist curl is the 2-arm palm down wrist curl. Here the subject should be kneel next to a flat bench and lay forearms across the bench while holding the 2 dumbbells palms down. Using only the hand and wrist, lift the dumbbell up towards the ceiling as far as possible, as high as possible, keeping your forearm flat on the bench. When you return to the starting position, allow the dumbbell to come down to the starting position and then repeat. So, this is called 2-arm palm down wrist curl. Next type of strengthening exercise is the dumbbell radial deviation. Here the subject should be holding the dumbbell with his hand with elbow extended and wrist also extended. Now, the subject has to radially and deviate the arm towards both sides, radial and ulnar deviation with the weighted dumbbell. Next type of strengthening exercise is the dumbbell lying pronation. That is, especially we strengthen the pronator muscles. Now, here the subject should be lying on a bench or mat and the subject should be holding the dumbbell. Then keep the elbow 90-degree bent and place the arm on the hip or sides of the waist. Then the position the thumb, the first is position the thumb upwards. So, this is the position where the subject is supinated. Then rotate the dumbbell so that thumb turns downwards. So, this is the pronation position, and return and repeat. So, this is called dumbbell lying pronation. This is especially to strengthen the pronator muscle group. This is the dumbbell lying pronation exercise, arms down. The subject should be again lying down, and the position of the elbow should be 90 degree flexed. Now, the position, the thumb down with the weight, Now, rotate the dumbbell in such a way that thumbs turn upwards, that is pronation movement, and return to the original position and repeat it. Next type of exercise is the dumbbell seated pronation. That is, the subject should be sitting next to an elevated surface and approximately at the armpit height. Bend the elbow approximately 90 degree and place the upper arm on elevated surface, position the thumb upward, that is supinated. Then rotate the dumbbell so the thumb turns downwards, that is the pronation movement, and return to the original position. So, this is called dumbbell seated pronation. The exercises we are discussing here, that for the strengthening of the anterior deltoid is, the first one is barbell behind neck press, next is dumbbell shoulder press, next is barbell front raise, barbell incline front raise, dumbbell front raise, dumbbell alternating incline front raise, barbell military press, barbell seated military press, etc. These are the exercises we are going to discuss. Now, we will start with the practical session right now. The first exercises for the anterior deltoid is the barbell behind neck press. Here, the subject should be grasping the barbell with overhand grip. Now, position the bar behind the neck, then press the bar upward or push the bar upward until the arms are extended overhead. Then return behind the neck and repeat. This is the exercise. This is barbell behind neck press. The target muscle here is the anterior deltoid muscle. This exercise is done to strengthen the anterior deltoid muscle. Along with the anterior deltoid muscle, there are some more muscles which act synergistically. It includes the lateral deltoid, supraspinatus, triceps, trapezius middle and lower trapezius, and serratus anterior muscle are the muscles which work synergistically along with the anterior deltoid. So, while doing the barbell behind neck press, we are strengthening the anterior deltoid. Along with that, the other muscles are also getting strengthened. Next exercise is the dumbbell shoulder press. The position of the subject should be he should be in sitting position with the dumbbells on each side of the shoulders. The dumbbells should be on each side of the shoulders. Then press the dumbbell upward until the arms are extended overhead, and then lower it towards the side of the shoulder and repeat it 3-4 times. The muscle acting here are the anterior deltoid muscle. Exercises we have seen right now is the dumbbell shoulder press. The target muscle is the anterior deltoid. It gives strengthening. It is a strengthening exercise, especially for the anterior deltoid. But some more muscles are also acting synergistically along with this muscle. The muscles are lateral deltoid, supraspinatus, triceps, then middle and lower trapezius, serratus anterior, and clavicular part of the pectoralis major. These are the muscles acting synergistically along with the anterior deltoid in doing this exercise. Now, next type of exercise is the barbell front raise. Here, the subject should be grasping the barbell with overhand grip with the elbow straight and slightly bent. Better to be the elbow straight. So, the person should be grasping the barbell with overhand grip with elbow straight or slightly bent. Raise the barbell forward and upward until the upper arms are above horizontal, and lower and repeat. This is called barbell front raise. The barbell front raise type of exercises, mainly concentrating the target muscle is the deltoid, anterior deltoid muscle group. But there are some other muscles which synergistically acting on the along with this exercise. Once you are doing the exercises, synergistically some more muscles are acting along with the anterior deltoid. It includes the pectoralis major muscle, that is especially the clavicular part of the pectoralis major muscle, the lateral deltoid muscle, and the trapezius, middle and lower trapezius, serratus anterior, especially the inferior digitation of that serratus anterior muscle are also acting synergistically along with this, along the anterior deltoid. Next type of exercise is the dumbbell front raise. Here the subject should be grasping the dumbbell in both hands. Position the dumbbell in front of the upper leg with the elbow straight or slightly bent. Now raise the dumbbell forward and upward until the upper arms are above horizontal. Then lower and repeat. Either we can do it simultaneously or we can do it separately, that alternate dumbbell, that is if we are if we are doing this exercises alternatively, we can call the exercise as dumbbell alternate front raise. In the case of dumbbell front raise, the target muscle is the anterior deltoid. Along with the anterior deltoid, the synergistic muscle acting are the clavicular part of the pectoralis major, the lateral deltoid, middle and lower trapezius. These are the muscles acting synergistically along with the anterior deltoid in case of frontal dumbbell front raise. This is the barbell military press. The subject should be grasping the barbell with overhand grip slightly wider than the shoulder width. Position the bar in front of the neck. Now we are asking the subject to lift the bar upward until the arms are extended overhead. Then lower to the front of the neck and repeat. The exercise we have seen right now is the barbell military press. The target muscle is the anterior deltoid, but along with that some more muscles are also acting synergistically. The muscles are clavicular part of the pectoralis major, triceps, lateral deltoid, middle and lower trapezius, and inferior digitations of the serratus anterior. These are the muscles which acting synergistically along with the anterior deltoid in case of barbell military press. This is the barbell seated military press. Here the grasp the barbell with slightly wider than the shoulder width, overhand grip from the rack. Position the bar near the upper chest. Press the bar upward until the arms are extended overhead and return to the upper chest and repeat. So we are lifting the bar upward until the arms are extended overhead and return to the upper chest and repeat. The exercises right now we demonstrated is the barbell seated military press. Here the position of the grip should be it should not be too wide also. If it is the position, if the position of the grip is too wide, it may compromise the range of motion, and grip should be slightly narrower than the shoulder press, where the grip should be slightly narrower than the shoulder press. Then here the target muscle is the anterior deltoid, but along with the anterior deltoid, in this case also some more muscles are also acting synergistically. These are the lateral deltoid, supraspinatus, triceps brachii, then middle and lower trapezius and inferior digits of the serratus anterior. So these are the muscles which act synergistically along with the anterior deltoid in barbell seated military press. Next type of exercise for the anterior deltoid is the barbell incline front raise. So the first of all, the person should grasp the barbell with the shoulder width over hand grip. With the shoulder width over hand grip. Lie supine on the upper portion of the 45-degree inclined bench with the leg straight, position the barbell on top of the upper thighs. Position the barbell on top of the upper thighs. Now, with the elbow straight or slightly bent, raise the barbell up over the shoulder until the upper arms are vertical. Lower the barbell to the upper thighs and repeat. The exercises we explained, we demonstrated is the barbell incline front raise. For barbell incline front raise, the inclination should be around 45-degree angle, and first of all the subject should be positioning the barbell over his legs, and he with extended elbow he raises the barbell. In case of incline front raise, barbell incline front raise, we are targeting the muscle of anterior deltoid muscle. The target muscle is the anterior deltoid, but there are other muscles which work synergistically along with the anterior deltoid. The name of the muscles are, the first one is the clavicular part of the pectoralis major muscle, next is the lateral deltoid, next is middle and lower trapezius, and lower side or inferior side of the serratus anterior muscle also act synergistically in barbell incline front raise, that is along with the anterior deltoid muscle. Next type of exercise for the anterior deltoid is the dumbbell alternating incline front raise. Here the person should be grasping the dumbbell and lie supine on an upper portion 45-degree inclined plane, that is the person should be in lying supine in 45-degree inclined plane with leg straight. Now, the grasp the dumbbell and position the dumbbell downwards below each shoulder. With the elbow straight or slightly bent, raise one dumbbell forward and up over the shoulder until the upper arm is vertical. Then lower the dumbbell and goes to the starting position and repeat with the other arm the same motion with the other arm. The exercises we demonstrated were the strengthening exercises for the anterior deltoid muscle. Now, we will go through some stretching exercises which improve the flexibility of the anterior deltoid muscles. So, in this section, the coming session, we will be demonstrating the stretching exercises of the anterior deltoid muscle. So, the stretching exercise for anterior deltoid, the first one is the doorway front deltoid stretch. The subject should be standing at the end of the wall or in a doorway facing perpendicular to the wall. Position the palm on the surface of the wall slightly lower than the shoulder. Bend elbow slightly. Now, turn the body away from the positioned arm. Hold the stretch for some time. Repeat with the opposite arm. Here a stationary bar can also be used instead of the wall. The stretching exercise we demonstrated right now is known as doorway front deltoid stretch. So, the target muscle for the stretching is the anterior deltoid. So, while doing the doorway front deltoid stretch, we will get the stretching of some other muscles also. It include, we will get a stretching of the pectoralis major, especially the sternal part of the pectoralis major, clavicular part of the pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, and biceps brachii also. All these four muscles are also getting stretched in the doorway front stretch, but the target muscle, the main muscle gets stretched is the anterior deltoid muscle. Next type of anterior deltoid stretch is lying front deltoid stretch. The subject should be sitting on the floor or mat. Then lean the back and place the hand flat on the floor behind the body, slightly wider than the shoulder width, with fingers positioned away from the body. Now, the subject has to scoot the hip forward away from the hand and hold he will be getting a stretching on the anterior deltoid, then hold the stretch for a while. The subject can also, instead of scooting the hip forward, he can move the hand backward. Hand can be eased backward also. This is another method also, and here also he will get the deltoid stretch. Hold the stretch for some time and relax. In lying front deltoid stretch, instead of scooting the hip forward, the subject can ease the hand backward also. This also will give the almost similar stretch. That is, the front deltoid can be stretched or anterior deltoid can be stretched by this way also, by easing the hand backward instead of scooting the hip forward. The stretching exercise we demonstrated is lying front deltoid stretch. So, the target muscle for lying front deltoid stretch, the muscle which is getting stretched is the anterior deltoid. But along with the anterior deltoid, some more muscles are also getting stretched. It includes the pectoralis major, especially the sternal and clavicular part of the pectoralis major is also getting stretched. And biceps brachii is the another muscle which is getting stretched in this type of stretching technique. The type of stretching right now we are demonstrating is wall front deltoid stretch. The subject should be face away from the wall, bent over and place the hand slightly wider than the shoulder width as high as possible on the wall with the fingers positioned upward. Now, bring the rear end and back towards the wall and squat down. Hold the stretch for 20 seconds, then relax. The stretching exercise we demonstrated right now is wall front deltoid stretch. The target muscle the muscle we have given stretching is the anterior deltoid. The muscle which the other muscle which is getting stretched by wall front deltoid stretch are the pectoralis major, especially sternal and clavicular part of the pectoralis major, and biceps brachii. The next type of stretch for the anterior deltoid is the PNF seated front deltoid stretch. So, we are asking the subject to sit on the floor or bench and to place the arm behind the hip. Now, from behind, the trainer has to grasp the participant wrist, position them wider than the shoulder width, then raise the participant's arm upwards behind their body outside, then hold the stretch for some time, then relax and repeat the stretching. The technique we demonstrated is a PNF seated front deltoid stretch. The target muscle is the anterior deltoid muscle. Along with that, some other muscles also getting stretched, that is the clavicular and sternal part of the pectoralis major and biceps brachii muscles are also getting stretched by this type of technique, PNF seated deltoid stretch technique. The exercises we demonstrated in the previous session was the exercises, strengthening and stretching exercises for the anterior deltoid muscle. In this session, we will be demonstrating stretching and strengthening exercises for the lateral deltoid muscle. So, we will go through the strengthening exercises of lateral deltoid muscle right now. Now, the exercises we are going to demonstrate is the barbell upright row. The instruction we are going to the subject is for the preparation. The subject should be grasping the bar with shoulder width or slightly narrower over hand grip. Now, we are asking to pull the bar to the neck with the elbow leading and allow the wrist to flex as bar side and lower and repeat. The bar can be received from barbell rack, standing behind the bar, mid-thigh height. The exercise we demonstrated here is the barbell upright row. This is the exercise for the strengthening of the lateral deltoid muscle. Along with the lateral deltoid muscle, there are a group of muscles which act for this action, for this strengthening exercise. So, these are some synergetic muscle. It includes the anterior deltoid also, supraspinatus, brachialis, brachioradialis, biceps brachii, middle and lower trapezius muscle, inferior digitation of the serratus anterior, infraspinatus and teres minor. These muscles are also getting strengthened, or these muscles also act synergistically along with the lateral deltoid for barbell upright row. The exercise we are demonstrating right now is the dumbbell lateral raise. For that, the subject should grasp the dumbbell in front of the thigh with elbows slightly bent. Now, bent over with hips and knees bent slightly. Then raise the upper arm to sides until the elbows are at shoulder level. Maintain the elbow height above or the wrist. Lower and repeat. This exercise is called dumbbell lateral raise. Maintain the slight bend through the elbow around 10 to 13 degree angle throughout the movement. At the top of the movement, elbow should be directly lateral to the shoulder since the elbows are slightly bent forward. Dumbbells are raised by the movement shoulder abduction. And if the elbow draws lower than the wrist level, front deltoid become the primary movers instead of lateral deltoid, or anterior deltoid become primary movers instead of lateral deltoid. The target muscle for this type of exercise, dumbbell lateral raise, is the lateral deltoid, but there are some more muscles which act synergistically. It includes anterior deltoid, supraspinatus, middle and lower trapezius, and serratus anterior. Especially the inferior digitation of the serratus anterior works synergistically along with the lateral deltoid muscle in the dumbbell lateral raise. Next type of strengthening exercise for the lateral deltoid is the dumbbell lying lateral raise. Subject should be lying on the side with the legs separated for support. He will be grasping the dumbbell in front of the thigh. Now, we are asking the subject to raise the dumbbell from the floor until the arms are vertical. Maintain the fixed elbow position, that is around the elbow should be around 10 to 30 degree angle throughout the exercise. Then he can lower it and repeat the exercise 2 or 3 times. The movement occurring here is exactly abduction movement. It should be shoulder abduction. It should not be an external or internal rotation of the shoulder. Exactly abduction of the shoulder should be there. Otherwise, internal and rotation, we won't get the strengthening of the lateral deltoid. The muscle acting for this work is the lateral deltoid. The synergetic muscle work is by the posterior deltoid will be the supraspinatus, middle and lower trapezius is there, serratus anterior, especially inferior digitations of the serratus anterior also work synergistically for this work. Exercise for strengthening the lateral deltoid is the dumbbell raise. For dumbbell raise, the subject should be standing standing, and he grasps the dumbbell with arms to sides, palms facing sides of the thigh. Then we are asking the subject, asking the person to pull the dumbbell up to the sides of the ribs with the elbow out to sides. Then lower and repeat. We demonstrated right now is the dumbbell raise. So when the dumbbells are raised, the wrist can be flexed and extended and keep neutral. So the target muscle is here is the lateral deltoid muscle. We are doing this exercise to the strengthening of the lateral deltoid muscles. Along with the strengthening of the lateral deltoid muscle, there are some more muscle which work as synergistic to this muscle. So for this action, so the muscles are posterior deltoid, supraspinatus, brachialis, brachioradialis, biceps brachii, middle and lower trapezius, serratus anterior, especially inferior digitations, infraspinatus and teres minor. And these are the muscles which act along with the deltoid for this muscle, for this dumbbell raise. The last session we were discussing about the different strengthening exercise of the lateral deltoid. Now we will be in this session we will be discussing about the some of the stretching exercise for the lateral deltoid muscle. For side deltoid stretch, the arm should be positioned across the chest. Arm should be positioned across the chest and place the opposite hand on the elbow. Now push the elbow towards the chest. Hold the stretch and repeat with opposite arm. So this is the stretch given for the side deltoid or lateral deltoid. Now we will be discussing about the posterior deltoid, how to stretch and strengthen the posterior deltoid muscle. We will be discussing about some stretching exercise of the posterior deltoid. So the first one is rear deltoid stretch. For rear deltoid stretch, the position of the arm should be, the person should be standing and the position of the arm should be across the neck. Place the opposite arm on the elbow and push the elbow towards the neck and hold the stretch for a while and repeat further with the opposite arm. So this is called rear deltoid stretch. If the person is positioning the arm lower chest, then it stretches the side deltoid or lateral deltoid only, that we already discussed. In the case of rear deltoid stretch, the muscle which is getting stretched is the posterior deltoid muscle. But along with the posterior muscle, posterior deltoid muscle, the infraspinatus, teres minor, middle and lower trapezius and rhomboids also getting stretched. We were discussing about the different stretching technique of the posterior deltoid. Now, we will be discussing in this session, we will be discussing about the different strengthening technique of the posterior deltoid. The first one is dumbbell lying rear deltoid raise. So, the subject should be lying on the sides with the legs separated for support. Grasp the dumbbell in front of the chest, palm facing downwards, arm bent and forward with a slight bend. Now, raise the dumbbell from the floor until it travels above the shoulder. Raise the dumbbell from the floor until it travels above the shoulder. Return to the dumbbell to the floor at the original position and repeat it 4 or 5 times. So, maintain fixed elbow position straight or slightly bent and keep the upper arm perpendicular to the trunk throughout the exercise. That is important. The target muscle in this exercise is the posterior deltoid, but some other muscles like infraspinatus, teres minor, lateral deltoid, middle and lower trapezius and rhomboids also act along synergistic action is there for these muscles also. Next is the dumbbell rear lateral raise. This is another type of exercise for the strengthening of the posterior deltoid muscle. Here we are asked the subject should grasp the dumbbell to each side and bend the knees and bend over through the hips with the back flat close to the horizontal. Position the elbows with slight bend and palms facing together. Now, we are asking the subject to raise the upper arm to sides until the elbows are at shoulder height. Maintain the upper arm perpendicular to the torso and fixed elbow position. Usually, it is 10 to 30 degree angle throughout the exercise. Then maintain the height of the elbow above wrist by lifting the dumbbell side up. Lower the dumbbell and repeat. The muscle acting, the target muscle is the posterior deltoid, and there are some other muscles also acting. Synergetic work of some muscle is there. It includes the infraspinatus, teres minor, lateral deltoid, middle and lower trapezius and rhomboids. So, these are the muscle acting synergetically along with the posterior deltoid muscle to do the dumbbell lateral raise. The exercises we were discussing in last session was especially for the strengthening and stretching of the deltoid muscle. Now, there is another exercise called dumbbell front lateral raise. This exercise is mainly for the strengthening of the supraspinatus muscle. There is some other synergetic muscle action is also there along with the supraspinatus. So, we will be demonstrating the dumbbell front lateral raise. The exercise for the strengthening of the supraspinatus muscle is the dumbbell front lateral raise. So, we are instructing the person to stand and grasp the dumbbell and position the dumbbell in front of the thigh. Turn the dumbbell side up and keep the elbow straight. Now, we are asking the subject to raise the arms to sides slightly to front until the shoulder height or slightly higher level. Then lower and repeat. Continue with the opposite arm. The muscle acting is the target muscle is the supraspinatus muscle here, and along with that there is a synergetic action of some more muscles, that is especially deltoid and trapezius are the muscles which synergetically acting for this dumbbell front lateral raise. The subject should grasp the dumbbell in one hand and he should be lying in an inclined plane around 30 to 45 degree inclined, with opposite side of the body on incline and arm over the top of the bench. Lower leg position on front side of the seat and upper leg on the back side of the seat. Position the dumbbell inside of the lower leg and just in front of the upper leg. Now, we are asking the subject to raise the dumbbell until the upper arm is perpendicular to the torso. Maintain the slight fixed bend in elbow throughout the exercise. lower the dumbbell in front of the upper leg, lower the dumbbell to the front of the upper leg and repeat. So, in order for lateral deltoid is to be exercised, dumbbell must be raised by shoulder abduction. It should not be externally rotated, only exact shoulder abduction should be there. The target muscle is the deltoid, the lateral deltoid. There are some muscle acting synergetically. These are posterior deltoid, supraspinatus, middle and lower trapezius, inferior digitations of serratus anterior. Next exercise is the dumbbell lying rear deltoid row. The subject should be in lying position, in prone lying position, and that is lie chest down on elevated bench. Grasp the dumbbell below. Then we are asking the subject to keep the upper arm perpendicular to the torso and dumbbell just below the elbows. Pull the dumbbell up until the elbows are just above the shoulders. Then return and repeat. The muscle here, the target muscle is the posterior deltoid, the infraspinatus, teres minor, lateral deltoid, middle and lower trapezius, rhomboids, brachialis and brachioradialis are the muscles which act as synergists, and these muscles also act along with the posterior deltoid. Next type of exercise we are going to do is the dumbbell rear deltoid row. The subject should be kneel over the side of the bench with the arms and leg to the sides, grasp the dumbbell. And now we are asking the subject to pull the dumbbell up to the side with the upper arm perpendicular to the trunk. Pull the dumbbell up to the sides with the upper arm perpendicular to the trunk until the upper arm is just beyond the horizontal. Lower and repeat. Now, the muscles acting for this action is posterior deltoid muscle. There are some synergetic muscle. These are infraspinatus, teres minor, lateral deltoid, middle and lower trapezius, brachialis, brachioradialis and rhomboids are the muscles which act synergetically. If the upper arm travels closer than the perpendicular to the trunk, latissimus dorsi become involved. Elbow should be raised directly lateral to the shoulder. Positioning the torso up at 45 degrees is not sufficient angle to target the real deltoid. Keep the torso bent over approximately horizontal. Now, in this session we will be discussing about the muscles of the arm region and different exercises for the improving the strength and improving the flexibility of the muscles of the arm. The muscles of the arm can be divided into two compartments, an anterior compartment and a posterior compartment. Anterior compartment consists of especially three muscles. These are coracobrachialis, biceps brachii and brachialis. These anterior compartment muscles, especially this muscle work on the elbow region. The important muscle in the posterior compartment is the triceps. So, especially the work of the triceps is again on the elbow, especially the extension of the elbow. Now, we will go through the different muscles of the anterior compartment. The first one is the coracobrachialis. Its origin from the coracoid process, apex of the coracoid process in common with the short head of the biceps brachii and from the intermuscular septum between the two muscles. It is inserted, it comes down and it is inserted by means of a flat tendon into an impression at the middle and medial surface of the border of the body of the humerus and between the origin of triceps and brachialis. Now, this muscle is innervated by musculocutaneous nerve, and the main function of this muscle is adduction of the humerus, flexion at the arm at the glenohumeral joint. Next muscle is the biceps brachii. It is having two heads, a short head and a long head. Short head, it starts from the coracoid process of the scapula, and long head from the supraglenoid tubercle. Then it is inserted into the radial tuberosity and bicipital aponeurosis into the deep fascia on the medial part of the forearm. Its action is flexion of the elbow, and supination of the forearm. So, its action, it is having two action, that is flexion at the elbow and supination of the forearm. Nerve supply is again musculocutaneous nerve. Now, in this session we will go through some exercises to strengthen the biceps muscle. One exercise which to strengthen the biceps brachii is barbell curl. The subject should be standing in standing position, grasping the bar with the shoulder width under the hand grip. Then we are asking the subject with his elbow to the sides, raise the bar until the forearms are vertical, lower until arms are fully extended, then repeat the motion again. This is called barbell curl. The muscle acting are the biceps brachii, the synergetic muscles are brachialis and brachioradialis. Next exercise is the dumbbell curl. The subject should be positioned in standing position with two dumbbells to the sides, palm facing in and arms straight. Then we are asking the subject with the elbows to the sides, raise on one dumbbell and rotate the forearm until the forearm is vertical, arm faces and palm faces the shoulder. Lower to the original position and repeat with the opposite arm. With the elbow to the sides, raise one dumbbell and rotate the forearm until the forearm is in vertical, palm faces to the shoulder. Lower to the original position, go back to the original position and repeat with the opposite arm. Continue to the alternate sides. Now, the target muscle is here is the biceps brachii. The synergetic muscles acting are brachialis and brachioradialis. Now, we are discussing about the bicep stretches. The first type of bicep stretch is the seated bicep stretch. In seated bicep stretch, the subject should be sitting on the floor or mat. Lean back and place the hand flat on the floor close together behind the body with the fingers positioned away from the body. Then we are asking the person to scoot the hip away from the hand and hold the stretch. So, he will be getting stretching on his biceps brachii. Instead of scooting the hip forward, even the hands can be eased backward also. Here the target muscle is the biceps brachii. Along with the biceps brachii, the anterior deltoid also getting stretched, and sternal and clavicular part of the pectoralis major also can get stretched in this type of seated bicep stretch. Next type of bicep stretch is the standing bicep stretch. Here the subject should clasp the hand behind the back with the palms together, straighten the arms and rotate the arms so that palms turn downward. Now, we are asking the subject to raise the arm away from the body so that his biceps will be stretched and hold the stretch for some time. The muscle here will be the stretch will be the biceps brachii. Along with the biceps brachii, anterior deltoid and clavicular and sternal part of the pectoralis major also getting stretched. Next type of bicep stretch is the wall bicep stretch. Here the subject should face away from the wall, bend over and place the hand close together as high as possible on the wall with the fingers positioned upward. Now, we are asking the subject to bring the rear end and back towards the wall and squat down. Then he will be getting stretching on the biceps muscle and hold the stretch for 20 seconds, then relax. Next type of stretching is the PNF seated bicep stretch. We are instructing the participant to sit on the floor or bench and place the arms behind the hips. From behind, grasp the participant wrist, positioning them downward and close together. Continue to raise the participant arm upward behind their body and hold the stretch. Participant wrist must continue to face downward. Next muscle on the anterior compartment of the arm is the brachialis. Brachialis origin from the anterior surface of the humerus, particularly the distal half of the bone. Then it is inserted on the coronoid process and the tuberosity of the ulna. The nerve supply is the musculocutaneous nerve. Action of the brachialis is flexion of the elbow. Next muscle seen on the arm region is the triceps brachii. Triceps brachii is situated on the posterior side or the posterior compartment of the arm. It is having three origins. It is having a long head, a lateral head and a medial head. Long head originates from the infraglenoid tubercle, lateral head from the posterior humerus and the medial head from the again on the posterior side of the humerus, and it is inserted to the olecranon process of ulna. Nerve supply, the radial nerve and it is having two nerve supply, the radial nerve and axillary nerve. Axillary nerve supplies to the long head. The action is, it is the main extensor of the forearm at the elbow joint, and its long head helps in adduction of the shoulder also. So, triceps is having two functions. The first one is extension of the forearm, and the extension of the forearm or extension of the forearm at the elbow joint, and the second function is it helps in the adduction of the humerus, especially its long head helps in the adduction of the humerus or adduction of the humerus at the shoulder joint. Now, in this session we will go through the different exercises, that is stretching and strengthening exercises for the triceps muscle. Now, we are discussing about the strengthening exercise of the triceps muscle. The first exercise we can do is that bench dip. The subject should be sit on inside of one of the two benches placed parallel, slightly less than leg's length away. Place the hand on edge of the bench, straighten the arms, slide rear end of the bench and position the heel on the adjacent bench with the legs straight. Lower the body by bending the arms until slight stretch is felt in the chest or shoulder or rear end touches the floor. Raise the body and repeat the same exercises. So, this is called bench dip. It should allow the full range of motion. Either a stretch should be felt on the either on the chest or arm. Lower side should be down till it touches the ground. The resistance can be reduced by placing the heel on the floor instead of keeping over the bench, and even it can make it as harder by keeping the weight on the lap. It increases the resistance or movement, and it can be performed even on the parallel bar also. The target muscle is the triceps brachii. There are some more muscles which act synergetically, that is synergetic muscle action for the anterior deltoid, sternal and clavicular part of the pectoralis major, there is pectoralis minor, rhomboids, levator scapula and latissimus dorsi. These muscles also work synergetically along with the triceps brachii. The next exercise we are going to do, we are doing is the bench dip with the knee bent. Here the position of the subject should be, he should sit at the side of the bench and place the hand on the edge of the bench. Place the feet on the floor away from the bench. Straighten the arm, slide rear end of the edge of the bench and position the feet on the floor with the knees bent. Now, we are asking the subject to lower the body by bending the arms until the slight stretch is felt on the chest or shoulder or rear end touches the floor. Then we are asking him, after few seconds, we are asking him to raise the body and repeat the same exercise. The bench height should be in such a way that it should allow a full range of motion. We can make the exercise more easier, either increase the height of the bench or place the feet closer to the bench, allowing space for full range of motion, and we can increase the resistance by placing the feet farther away from the bench or straightening the feet or straightening the legs. Now, the target muscle for the bench dip is the triceps brachii. The muscle synergetically acting along with the triceps brachii to do the bench dip are the anterior deltoid, sternal and clavicular part of the pectoralis major, pectoralis minor muscle, rhomboids, levator scapulae and latissimus dorsi. These are the muscle acting synergetically along with the triceps brachiae to do the knee bend bench dip. Next type of exercise for the strengthening of the triceps muscle is the bench dip with the heel on the floor. The subject should sit on the side of the bench. Place the hand on the edge of the bench. Position the feet away from the bench. Straighten the arms. Slide the rear end of the edge of the bench and rest the heel on the floor with legs straightened. The knee should be straightened. The lower body by bending the arms until slight stretch is felt in the chest or shoulder or rear end touches the floor. Raise the body and repeat. The knees can be bent to make the exercise easier. And this can be made harder, or more resistance can be given to the exercise by keeping the feet elevated on another bench, which increases the resistance we already described. Now, the muscle acting for this exercise is, the target muscle is the triceps brachiae. The other muscle acting synergetically along with this exercise, along with this muscle triceps brachiae are anterior deltoid, pectoralis major, sternal and clavicular part, pectoralis minor, rhomboids, levator scapula and latissimus dorsi. These group of muscle act together along with the triceps brachiae while we do the bench dip, especially on heels on the floor. Next type of exercise for the strengthening of the triceps muscle is the close grip push-up. Lie prone on the floor with the hands under the shoulder or slightly narrower. Position the body up of the floor with extended arm and body straight. Then keeping the body straight, lower the body to the floor by bending the arms. Lower the body to the floor by bending the arms. Push the body up until the arms are extended. This is called close grip push-up, and repeat it. Both upper and lower body must be kept straight throughout the movement. Now, this exercise can be made easier, or resistance can be reduced by performing the push-up with the knees bent on the floor or placing the hand on elevated horizontal bar or edge of an elevated surface. It can be made harder, or the resistance can be increased by elevating the feet or perform triceps dips on parallel bar. The target muscle is the triceps brachiae. The synergetic muscle are pectoralis major, clavicular and sternal part and anterior deltoid.